back and forth like that. And a couple times I got on the inside there on the front stretch, and
Shut up.
I could have pushed it a little wider, but
Everyone except for Brandon Bennett has gone into the pits. And I think Corey Williamson has stayed out as well. In fact, I think Corey Williamson came into the pits early, so he'll get an end-of-line penalty for that. So we'll wait for Brian Harris to make his way back on the track, and then we'll drag him in for an interview. Sanchez and the 21 of Brian Chambliss, they're battling for 7th and 8th. Kyle Kraus wants to get in on the action here as well. Kyle Kraus to the inside. Oh, Sanchez in the fence. And Sanchez has just lost out big time in the fence, and he's going to be in the middle of the track as the rest of the pack catches him. He'll want to try and get back up to speed very quickly. He's also going to be at risk.
And of course, you for all that you're doing. I'm sorry we had to put you through a Pocono race, but you're a trooper.
Sorry, you made me laugh. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Aussie Sim Commentator channel for the Output 100 here from the Nashville Super Speedway. And that was a well-timed camera cut just then. So we're here at Nashville. We're gonna do, I think it's 100 miles in this race. I'm not sure, 150 maybe. So it might be 100 laps. So I'm pretty sure everyone should be just about getting ready for a pit party here. Although it doesn't look like there's anyone on the pits waiting. Let's go and hit up TV2, see who's on track, see what's going on. There's Ken Campbell in the 15, Sam Niederhelm in the 66. Ken Campbell currently 14th in the standings, and the 66 in Niederhelm. Oh, as we see, the 91 of Lindown coming for a spin. And Niederhelm's actually in 12th. Like everyone is gathering in the pits now, so they probably will start organising for a pit party. Currently 21 people registered to race in this race, 22 overall in the server, which includes myself. And this brings our strength of field up to a 2766 at the minute. But we could expect some more people to join later on. Now we've got a quick paint refresh because we haven't done that yet. As a Kemi going for a spin on the infield already. Sanchez is going to lead us away from the pole. Going to have the 50 of Christian Budd on his outside. And they're up and racing. Maybe not. Looks like they're maybe taking a second lap. No, they wanted to wait for the start-finish line itself. And that is unusual for sure. You see 60 Kyle Kraus just coming out of the pits in time to join in on the pit party. They're coming along the back stretch. 64 of Jonas Marquez. He's got Niederhelm just in front of him. Marquez currently 15th. They go 3 wide there in the back. That's Campbell, Harmon, and I think that was Mark Pentecup as well. There's Frank Isaacson in the 24. Autism Awareness. He was also in the middle of 3 wide, still is. That's with Pizzacemi, and I couldn't see who the other car was on his outside. Possibly Jonathan Bell, I think that was. Oh, as the 91 car of Lindau just took a trip through the grass. Very low grip here on cold tyres at the moment. A lot of people just grinding up against that turn 4 wall. Something we're going to have to watch out for is the exit of these corners, because the setup after the tyres warm up a bit is pretty tight. And you can usually see cars sliding up towards the top of the track, hitting each other and hitting the wall. Especially here during practice when everyone's pushing to the absolute limit of what they can do. Oh, there's another one who's gone off to the grass. I think that was Jonathan Bell. There's the 4 of Sanchez. You can see that he's got a lot of right side damage there. Hernandez also got into wall there as well. Surprised to see it's still a big group of cars. But no one's really splintered off from the group at the minute. You got a couple who have splintered off here and there, but not generally too many. It looks like Sanchez is going to take a trip into the pits. I'm pretty sure he just got punted, or just about punted by Hernandez, who's picking up a little bit more telltale damage as well. Corey Williamson in the 81. He's currently P9. Looking pretty strong around here as well. As we see a few more people. I think that was Carl Kraus. Just slipping down onto the apron there. Still a nice little pack going on here. So I got Pizzacami, Marquez, Horton, Williamson, Champeau. Isaacson's in there. I think Christian Budd's just come out of the pit. Yeah, I can just tell that that turn 4 wall is definitely going to be getting a lot of use in this race, at least here in practice, as everyone is trying to find the limits of their trucks on this newer concrete surface that we're running on here. These guys are used to running mile and halves, and they're used to running concrete tracks, but not quite in this configuration. And this is almost like Auto Club, but with slightly less banking. I think it's a combination of Chicagoland and Auto Club, but less banking, which also provides less grip and makes it hard to set the trucks up, especially when it's a fixed setup. There's the 88 of Jonathan Hernandez. Looks like Kyle Kraus and Jaron Sanchez have had it coming together. Corey Williamson and Frank Isaacson going side by side. And now over to Chris Champeau. Chris not finding a handle here so far in his truck, currently 21st. As behind him, Jaron Sanchez smashed the wall. It looks like Corey Williamson got a little bit loose there coming out of turn 4, decided to take it to the apron. Jonas Marquez with a big slide coming out of turn 4. That's another thing we're going to have to keep an eye on. These guys on fresh tyres coming out of that turn 4 can be dangerous. It's 26 of Joseph Weaver. We haven't seen too much of him. Good to see Joseph Weaver back on track. 5 of Mark Pentecoff. And also Joseph Weaver is experimenting with alternate dimensions in practice. So he's desperate to try and get something to work. And Chris Champeau's moved up. He's no longer in last. I think I saw him up in the top 10, maybe around 8th. Yeah, 8th it was. Matt Horton just moved up into the 3rd spot in front of Christian Budd, which is not a sentence I thought I'd say. Christian Budd was down the 4th and now back up to 2nd behind Jonathan Bell. A lot of these guys going tit for tat with the positions that they're getting here in practice so far. Look at the 3 wide action. Corey Williamson, Joseph Weaver, and the 5 of Mark Pentecoff on the outside. Oh, another flip there for Joseph Weaver. As there is now about just under 15 minutes left here in practice. That's roughly about 30 laps, 29, 30 laps that these guys have left to get some practice in here. Oh, big shunt into the wall for Mark Pentecoff. That one's done his engine in. Let's have a look at the mixed TV camera pack that we got here. Now these are all the default cameras provided by iRacing. Oh, we saw Jonathan Hernandez there in the background slide into the fence. Continuing to slide into the fence. And continuing to keep on sliding. He just wants to hog all the camera time, apparently. Someone just went big time bang into the fence. Didn't see who it was, but we definitely heard it. Possibly Ken Campbell that did it. Saw him just trickling into the pits there. There's Matt Horton in the 33, Chris Champeau in the 2. Chris has jumped up to 4th. Christian Budd's dropped back to the top. 30.251 is currently the top time. 273 for Matt Horton in P2. There's Jonathan Hernandez. He's dropped all the way down to 12th after looking pretty strong early here in practice. Thomas Harmon actually in 11th. Hernandez just can't seem to get a hold of that truck while it's on fresher tyres. Unfortunate because he's usually one of our tougher competitors. Now he's coming out with his drafting buddy of Mr. Jaron Sanchez, league owner and operator. Possibly a pit party of sorts. All three of them giving each other hurry-ups here. That's Sanchez, Hernandez, and Bud. Let's see what we can get going here. So just having a quick look, our top 6 are all separated by just under 700ths of a second. Got 0.023, 0.03, 0.052, 0.058, and 0.061 are the gaps from 6th to 1st. And it looks like we're underway here for the final pit party of practice, unless everyone dies, in which case they'll re-rack it, restack it, and do it again. Already going 3 wide here, coming into turn 1. Thomas Harmon on the inside of Corey Williamson and Sam Niederhelm. Williamson, Biggie in the middle, falling back a little bit. Oh, so many people hitting that fence, including Christian Budd, who has been punted off just about into the pits. And Hernandez still continuing to struggle at the minute. There is Jonas Marquez in the 64. He's got Williamson, Niederhelm, and Pentacuff behind him. Still only the 21 drivers here to start this race. It's still a solid field of cars. And don't forget to go check out some of the drivers who are streaming right now as well, if you haven't done so yet. I think Christian Budd will be streaming. Christian Poe is streaming. Thomas Harmon might be streaming. Puzakemi might be streaming. There's 4 just off the top of my head that I know are streamers that would probably be streaming this. Jaron Sanchez is also a streamer, but I don't think he's live right now. So for Christian Budd, it's twitch.tv/Christian Budd. For Chris Champo, it's Champ Drives Cars. Jaron Sanchez is Jaron_S. For Thomas Harmon, it's Jungle Cat Wizard 68, I think. For Puzakemi, it's Superior Blaze. Jonathan Hernandez making a step up all the way up to P5 now in the standings. As we are in the final 5 minutes here of practice now. A lot of these guys are just trying to work on running the track now, no longer trying to push the limits, just trying to figure out where they're going to be comfortable driving around. Some of them might even be going out to do some qualifying runs. I'm surprised because no one's really done a pit entry practice yet. Yeah, I'm pretty sure a lot of these people are just trying to wear their tires out a bit so they can practice the pit entries. The pit entry is not easy around here. And I don't think you guys are getting any of the desktop audio. Because there was a Windows update and it got everything, all kinds of stuffed up. Thank you, Windows, again, for stuffing up what we have around here. We now have less than 6 laps to go in practice. Christian Budd on screen, going to continue to hold the top spot here for the moment. I don't think anyone's really going to pip him here in the last couple of minutes. Here we go, the last minute and a half. There's Sam Niederhelm, he's currently 19th. The top 5 is Bud, Puzzakemi, Horton, Bell, and Champo. And that is a pretty stout top 5, if I do say so myself. Just having a look, you know, the entire field is separated by about half a second. There's absolutely nothing in the grand scheme of things. Incredible to see what these guys can do sometimes. But now that we are in the final minute, we are going to be going to a commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to see how these guys fare after qualifying is all said and done. You guys don't want to miss the start of the race. So buckle up and get ready, because I reckon this is going to be an exciting one, guys. So be back here very quickly, because qualifying is almost over, and we'll be back with these guys shortly. And we are back. Qualifying has been completed, and it's time for us to start going through our grid here for the Output 100 live on the Aussie Sim Commentator channel from the Nashville Super Speedway. On the pole, as to no surprise to anyone ever, it's going to be the 50 car of Christian Budd. On his outside will be the 2 of Chris Champeau. The 28 of Austin Hakes will be out of P3, with the 4 of Jaron Sanchez out of P4. The 15 of Ken Campbell will be out of 5th, with the 88 of Jonathan Hernandez out of P6. The 33 of Matt Horton will be out of 7th, with the 38 of Thomas Harmon being out of 8th. Going to have the 60 of Kyle Kraus out of P9, and P10 is going to be the 26 of Joseph Weaver. Wrapping up the rest of the field, we're going to have, I clicked the wrong button, Travis Massier in 11th, Tommy Bordeaux, Frank Isaacson, James Lindau, James Watson, Mark Pentecoff, Brian Pizzacami, Sam Niederhelm, Jonas Marquez, and Corey Williamson out of 20th. And it looks like Jonathan Bell at the moment is a non-starter. He is not on the grid, but including Jonathan Bell and myself, 22 people in the service. Strength of field 2766. Looks like we've got 20 cars to take the grid out of 21 drivers who registered for the race. Just waiting for the countdown, and it looks like indeed we are not going to be having the Jonathan Bell join us for the start of the race here. The Christian Budd doing a big burnout, trying to take some of the tire life off those rear tires early, because these trucks will get very tight for these drivers as the run goes on. And with the way that we've been here, even at the really difficult tracks where you expect to see 2 or 3 cautions, these guys have been keeping it fairly clean. Let's see if we can continue that on here today. 100 laps around the Nashville Super Speedway. Our danger areas are going to be the exit of 2 and the exit of 4. On the opening lap, it's going to be absolutely everywhere, because as I said, these cars, or these trucks on cold tires, are loose. As we are getting ready to go green this time by. And we're off and racing for the Output 100 here from the Nashville Super Speedway. Already Christian Budd clearing out to a big lead. Chris Champeau held back a little bit there to try and get eyes on Christian Budd as he started that race, but he ends up falling back to 3rd behind Austin Hakes, who has taken over the 2nd position. Jaron Sanchez trying to fight for 3rd right now, but he's not going to be able to get there as Chris Champeau now pulls to the inside of Austin Hakes. You see the 88 of Jonathan Hernandez there as well, trying to get himself into this battle. But the first lap is going to be led by Christian Budd. Austin Hakes and the 2 of Chris Champeau still side by side. Same 2 for the 4 of Jaron Sanchez and the 88 of Jonathan Hernandez, but not anymore as Sanchez cuts down across the nose of Hernandez. Stamp authority on his 4th position. And now he's going to look at taking 3rd away from Austin Hakes, who's just been slipping back from Champeau here just ever so slightly. See the 15 of Ken Campbell up there as well. Good to see Ken in a good position. And the 88 of Jonathan Hernandez almost looking to make it 3 wide there. But it looks like that outside line is just dying a slow death here at the moment. You see the 38 of Thomas Harmon. He's now on the inside of Jonathan Hernandez. Hernandez, who hasn't been able to get down into the low line yet. Ken Campbell also battling for Jaron Sanchez's 3rd position here as well. Who knew that Ken Campbell was going to be so strong? Look at him go. He's already made up 1 position, looking to make another one here. And he's going to do it as they come into turn 1. He's even going to clear Sanchez. I think Sanchez might have backed out of that a little bit just so he could get back down to the inside. And Austin Hakes has fallen down to 5th. He's down 2 positions. He started in 3rd. There's already a big mover in the field with the 78 of Brian Pizzakemi, who's gone up 4 positions since the start of this race. And at the moment, the big loser, Tommy Bordeaux, has dropped down to 17th. And we do have Jonathan Bell on the track. Looks like he just started from the pits. Currently has the fastest lap of the race as well. Let's go back up to the front of the pack, see where the action is. And it looks like for the moment, it's actually all single filed out here a little bit. Although I say that, and now the 78 of Brian Pizzakemi looking to make a move on Frank Isaacson in the 24 car. He goes into inside, so too does the 13 of Travis Massia on the 26 of Joseph Weaver. It looks like Massia is going to make that move stick. 78 Pizzakemi's not going to have such an easy time. Frank almost closed down the lane on him. And Weaver is going to hold on at the moment to that 11th position. Although Weaver did just come into the wall coming out of turn 4. That's the opening that Pizzakemi needed. Pizzakemi now up 6 positions into P11. Let's start watching just in front of these guys here a little bit. This little pack of cars is starting to get a little bit racy here. It's Sanchez, Hakes, Harmon, Hernandez, Horton, and Kraus. Travis Massia just onto the back of this pack a little bit. He's going to look at making a move here soon, I think. But also, Chris Champeau is not exactly letting Christian Budd get away here either. Go check out our leader. That is the gap first to second. You can see it right there live on your screens. And Chris Champeau definitely not wanting to let Christian Budd go this time. No, Christian Budd has been one of our most dominant competitors here in the Output Racing League. Chris Champeau has been one of our most tenacious and aggressive. There's definitely nothing wrong with that, because he is the only guy who's looking like he's going to challenge Christian Budd here at the minute. As they cross the line to start lap 10, we've got 9 laps in the books already. We're already almost 1/10 of the way through this race. As Christian Budd just had a little bit of a blink there. He is. Christian Budd blinking from the lead. You want to hope that that doesn't happen to him when he gets to the start-finish line, because iRacing sometimes won't score you if you blink out across the line. And Christian Budd, big time blinking along the back straight in turns 3 and 4 there. Looks like he's got it sorted out. Oh, no. I was going to say, it looks like he had it sorted out, but definitely not. Doesn't look like it's something that was affecting him on the front straight. It's just towards the back here. But just behind these guys, there is a battle on now for the 4th position. Austin Hakes up on the inside of Jaron Sanchez. Sanchez trying to side draft him a little bit, not let him get that run, and using the momentum on the outside line to try and hold it there with Austin. But it's not going to work going into turn 1, and now Sanchez looking to lose a little bit more than just his podium hopes. As here comes Thomas Harmon up on his inside as well. There's Jonathan Hernandez right behind him, with the 2 pictures of Jaron with his dog on the back of the truck. Sanchez, he's just going to be stuck on the outside here. He's going to get freight trained here. Everyone's going to keep coming underneath him unless he can find a gap to squeeze into, which is never going to be easy at a track like this where it's so hard to pass that everyone's going to be trying to consolidate whatever position they can get. And one little slip up and it all goes bad. It looks like Sanchez does find a way to get into the inside line there, but Kyle Kraus looking for a big move there on the outside of Matt Horton. Just in the back of the shot there. That was a very aggressive move that he made to the outside of turn 3. It hasn't worked out for him yet. He was scored as being the 8th position coming across the line. It looks like maybe that outside lane, the second lane, just starting to come in a little bit as Matt Horton concedes position to Kyle Kraus. Now Kraus looking to work on the inside of Sanchez. He's got his nose up there. Sanchez knows that he's there. But Sanchez using the momentum himself to hold on to position, then takes it all the way down to the apron there on the front stretch. Oh, and Horton, he was almost going to try and pull the same move that Kraus pulled on him. Didn't quite work out the same though, but look at these three. So close to each other. Horton is just about pushing Kyle Kraus along the back straight there. Here they come out of turn 4, and it's still going to be the advantage to Sanchez. And just behind these guys, Pizzakemi is looming up 7 positions. Joseph Weaver down 8. Oh, that has got to hurt. Down in 18th at the minute, sorry. And it looks like Christian Budd starting to pull away from Chris Champeau now, to the tune of about 0.6, 0.7 of a second at the minute. So maybe Chris Champeau just burnt up his stuff a little bit there, trying to be too aggressive too early. But you kind of have to be when you're racing against Christian Budd. Christian Budd can save tyres better than just about anyone else in this league. Let's go have a look at this battle for Sanchez and Kyle Kraus again. Side by side they go at the line. And I think Sanchez had the advantage when they crossed it. But Kraus, this time, making the inside line of turns 1 and 2 stick. And now he takes away the 7th position from Sanchez. Sanchez having a real fall from grace here. Got all the way up to P3. Now has dropped all the way down to P8. Let's go see what Tommy Bordeaux was up to. We don't get to see Tommy Bordeaux too much. He's right behind James Watson in the 39 car. To the inside of Watson, he's going to look, and that is going to be Bordeaux now up into 14th and Watson down to 15th. Tommy Bordeaux's lost 2 positions from where he started. Jonas Marquez up there as well. He's up 6 positions from where he started in the 64 truck. A lot of big movers going forward and a lot of movers going back as well. With Joseph Weaver dropping back 9 positions now, down to 19th. And let's also go check out... Oh, Joseph Weaver must be blinking because iRacing can't decide where he is positioned. Let's go check out Jonathan Bell though. He started in the pits, and he is just about on the back of this pack. As I said, he holds the fastest lap of the race, as I think that is Weaver coming into the pits. Weaver coming in for repairs already. Wasn't worth trying to stay out there with all that damage. Tommy Bordeaux has just moved himself up into 13th. Let's go back up with this pack. Kyle Kraus hasn't exactly been getting away, but himself and Sanchez now up into 6th and 7th respectively. Austin Hakes dropping down to 8th. And Hakes has lost 5 positions since the start of this race as well. Kyle Kraus up 3 from where he started. He started P9. He's just been slowly chipping away, getting past a few of the drivers. The 33 of Matt Horton now looking to get on the inside of Hakes. Oh, I think I just heard someone drill the outside wall there at turn 4. Not sure who that was. It was possibly Hernandez. Oh, I dare say it was Hernandez. He has a lot of right side damage on that truck in the 88. We won't see it too much there. You can see the right rear of the car is jacked up a little bit. It's very indicative of slamming that outside wall there of turn 4. And yeah, he's got a lot of right front damage as well. The right side of that truck looking not good whatsoever. Now he's going to start falling under pressure from the 60 car. I think Chris Champeau started to drop a few positions as well. Ken Campbell and Thomas Harmon now have gotten around him. I don't see any damage on that 2 truck. Oh, I don't think he's gotten into the wall. I think it's what I thought it was. Just burnt up his tyres because he was trying to hang with Christian Budd and just couldn't quite stick with the pace that Budd was providing. See Thomas Harmon running a slightly wider entry into 3 and 4 that time. We're going to go back to here. We can see 60 car Kraus has gotten around Hernandez at the moment. Just waiting to see if the 4 Jones Sanchez can do the same. But Hernandez is one who can drive through any damage he has, as Kyle Kraus experimenting with the alternate dimension there very quickly. It's looking like Matt Horton trying to make a move on Sanchez as well in the 33. Goes to the inside of 1 and 2. Sanchez trying to hold strong on the outside. He's still there. Oh, just cleared for Matt Horton. And Sanchez now drops another position back down to P8. I'm surprised Brian Pizzakemi hasn't stuck with the back of this pack just yet. He was looking pretty strong in the early goings. But he's kind of just sat there in a little bit of limbo at the minute. I think this is as good as time as any. We're going to go to a quick commercial break here. And when we come back, we're going to see how these guys go when they start getting ready to do some green flag pit stops. So make sure you guys stay tuned. Welcome back to the Aussie Sim Commentator here on Twitch and YouTube, and welcome back to the Output 100 here from the Nashville Super Speedway. As you can see, there's been a little bit of movement and shaking going on. Matt Horton has worked his way up into P6. Darren Sanchez has gotten around Jonathan Hernandez up into 7th, and Pizzacami now on the tail of this little battle. Kyle Kraus and Chris Champeau started battling as well just now, and they're pulling away from this group a little bit, or at least Kyle Kraus is pulling away. It looks like Chris Champeau is starting to fall into their clutches a little bit. Oh, Kraus just got onto the apron a little bit there. That really unsettled his truck. That's allowed Chris Champeau to fight back on the outside of 1 and 2. See what they can do on 3 and 4, and it looks like this time Kraus taking a much steadier line, and he still not clear of Chris Champeau. So Chris Champeau is still driving very aggressively there on the outside. It's good to see he's not giving up the fight, and we wouldn't expect him to give up the fight that easily. Although I think this time it might be a different story, although no. Chris Champeau still hanging onto that right rear quarter of the 60 truck. This is allowing the 33 of Matt Horton to catch up to these guys. And you see that time going into 3, Chris Champeau falling back into line behind Kyle Kraus this time. But Matt Horton is right there now. Champeau looking for the inside move on Kraus. Oh, just about contact there as Kraus was coming down. Champeau was just figuring out which line he wanted. Close, hard, fast battling going on right here. As the 33 Matt Horton now, he is well and truly enthralled in this battle. And now here comes Matt Horton to the inside of Chris Champeau. And he make this move stick. Goes into 1 and 2. He had to check up a little bit more than he expected because Chris Champeau is still there. He was almost going to try and move up, but as you can see, Chris Champeau had Harpy's truck up there beside him. That's not going to work. Look at the run that Champeau got there on the entry to 3. That was a mega run. All the way out to the wall on the exit of 4. Dive it back down low for the front stretch. These guys are putting everything on the table right now. And look at just how hard Chris Champeau is fighting to try and stay in that top 5. I think the outside line is well and truly starting to come in as the tires are burning off for these drivers. Let's just look at how Chris Champeau able to fight back on the outside line there just nicely. See Jaron Sanchez starting to find his way into this as well. It looks like Chris Champeau is starting to fall off a little bit now from Horton. Very close quarters as they're coming through 4. Oh no, Chris Champeau big time into the fence. 78 of Pizzacami followed him in. That's allowed the 88 of Jonathan Hernandez to get around to both of them. Same too, the 28 of Austin Hakes. So that was a 0 to 0 moment for both those drivers. Because Pizzacami, who was up quite a few spots, now loses a couple of them again. But to the inside of Chris Champeau, he's going to go this time. Try to gain at least one of those spots back. This is the byproduct of racing hard, although I think Matt Horton did squeeze him into the fence a little bit there. Although that is just my personal opinion without having to look at any other angles. And Pizzacami makes the move for ninth stick. Let's see if we can open up the radio waves here, see what these drivers are talking about. If any of them are in fact talking. While we're at it, let's see if we can see some goings-ons around the track. Jonathan Bell looks like he's just gotten around Frank Isaacson. Frank now down to 18th, Jonathan up into 17th. Jonathan Bell up 4 positions from his pit start. Joseph Weaver still in the pits, he's in 21st, 20 laps down. Tommy Bordeaux has just moved up a position into 10th. Although he is battling it out with Chris Champeau still. Chris's car must be really damaged because it looks like he's got no pace at all now. So it's not just his tyres that are going to be affecting him. He's got all that damage on his truck and he's going to be losing a lot because of it. Go check in on the 33 of Matt Horton. He's got a bit of right side damage on his truck now too. Aaron Sanchez has gotten back around him for 5th and is pulling away. And Hernandez, like he is in a battle with Austin Hakes right now. These guys battling out for 7th and 8th. Let's go check in on our leader, the 50th Christian Budd. He has a nice clean truck. He hasn't been running into anything this entire race so far. And he has a 2.5 second lead over Thomas Harmon in P2. He was 0.2 faster than Harmon on that last lap. Budd with a 31.736 and Harmon with a 9.29. We're going to set these cameras to focus on crashes to see if it'll catch something interesting for us. Currently looking at Jonathan Hernandez in the 88. He's in P7 just behind Matt Horton and in front of Austin Hakes. This is a trio of drivers with a little bit of right side damage. Not necessarily a byproduct of them racing too hard. It's just something that can happen here sometimes. When you get too close to the wall and just give it a little bit of a rub. It looks like there's not too terribly much going on at the moment. If we keep going on this trajectory, it'll be a very quick race indeed. But if we go green the rest of the way, we'd be just about at the halfway point by the looks of things. But could start getting a shake up here very shortly because it is almost a time where these guys are going to have to start thinking about green flag stops. No tyres are going to be a big factor here, especially late in the run. It'll all be about seeing who's going to pit when, who's going to get the undercut, who's going to go for an overcut. I think Tommy Bordeaux was the first to blink here on lap 48. He is, he's the first pitted. Got no one coming into the pits on this lap though, by the looks of things. But we are set to focus on crashes. So I guess if anything interesting happens, the cameras are going to swap to that so we can see it. But at the moment, still no one looking like they're coming in for pit stops. Let's go have a look at our leader, Christian Budd. And he didn't come into the pits this time as we reached the halfway mark. he has a 3-second lead over Thomas Harmon. We do have some more people pitting. See Mark Pentecoff, Corey Williamson, Joseph Weaver in the pits. Tommy Bordeaux's come out in 19th. James Watson's in the pits. There's Jonathan Bell with Tommy Bordeaux, who has been absolutely flying since he's come out of the pits. There's Tommy Bordeaux's chance to maybe try and get the undercut to work. See if he can make up some positions by pitting that little bit early and then consolidating. Thomas Harmon has come into the pits on lap 52. He's the only person from the top 10 who has come into the pits. There's the 88 Jonathan Hernandez once again. I think Kraus has come into the pits. A lot of people will be staying out long hoping for a caution. There's Jonas Marquez, who is trying to hold off hard charging Tommy Bordeaux on his fresh tyres. And just look at Tommy Bordeaux go, as we have a flurry of pit stop activity now. Everyone, including Christian Budd, has come into the pits. The only 4 that haven't so far. Horton, Pizzicami, Ciampo, Lindau, and Jonathan Bell hasn't pitted either. Waiting to see if Travis Massier comes into the pits or not. There's Pizzicami, currently P2. And it doesn't say that Travis Massier is pitted yet, but he is back in the pack with people who have. So something might have happened to him that took him off the pace. So Matt Horton does come into the pits this time. Going to give leader lap points to Brian Pizzicami. Now it's Pizzicami, Ciampo, Lindau, and Bell, who haven't pitted yet. We see Jaron Sanchez. Sanchez gets his lap back, bring him back onto the lead lap now. Currently down in 12th. And Pizzicami now is going to slide his way into the pits. We're going to look at Chris Ciampo, who is going to inherit the lead now. He's going to get the leader lap points for that one. Carl Kraus currently P8, 7. On corrected, that should be about 5th. There's Lindau and Bell battling it out for the on-track P2.
Horton, how much damage did you have?
As Chris Ciampo comes into the pits this time. And Jonathan Bell, after starting from the pits, is going to lead a lap and get the bonus point for it. Now let's see if Jonathan Bell will pit this time. And he's got his point, and he doesn't do so yet. Looks like he's going to force Lindau to stay out for as long as he can. Christian Budd not far away from these guys on track. So they should probably expect themselves to be a lap down by the time they come out of the pits. saying that they will be on fresher tyres than our effective race leader, who is Christian Budd, but he's got Thomas Harmon right on his butt now. This is where the battle is at for the effective race lead as they get around the 5 of Mark Pentecoff. And both Bell and Lindau pit at the same time. Christian Budd now officially back into the lead of this race, as we are looking at Thomas Harmon, current P2. Carl Kraus in third, with Tommy Bordeaux all the way up into P4 through pit strategy. That's an outstanding move there by Tommy Bordeaux. Pit super early and to come out in P4. But he will have to look after these tyres now, because they're not going to be as good as everyone else's. I do believe Travis Massier has stopped, but for some reason my software is not telling me what lap he stopped on. But let's continue watching this battle for the front of the pack. Christian Budd still leading away from Thomas Harmon. Just in front of them, Frank Isaacson and Jonathan Bell. I believe that now, since we've got all the green flag stops done and dusted, we're going to go to another quick commercial break here. When we come back, we'll be going to the checkered flag, so make sure you guys stay tuned. And we are back here for the Output 100 here on the Aussie Sim Commentator channel from the Nashville Super Speedway. As you can see, our two leaders are now in heavy lap traffic. I say heavy, it was just 2 cars, but it still counts, as both the 50 and the 38, Christian Budd and Thomas Harmon, have gotten around the 24, Frank Isaacson, and the 91 of James Lindau. You see Thomas Harmon right there on the back of Christian Budd. Oh, as Lindau gets loose, he's gone around in front of Frank. I don't think he hit anything. I think he just got loose and looped the model. That was right behind our leaders. So Frank Isaacson, as long as he didn't touch Lindau, is going to get the lucky dog wave around. We're going to go back here and see what unfolded. Coming off turn 4. Was it just a case of Lindau getting loose? He's trying to squeeze up in front of Frank. No, there was a little bit of contact there. And that was just Lindau trying to get up in front of Frank and it not working out for him, unfortunately. Around he goes. And that means that Frank Isaacson is actually not going to be the recipient of the Lucky Dog wave around. That courtesy is going to go to the 5 of Mark Pentecoff. Now this provides some interesting strategy situations, because it all depends on who's going to pit, and if everyone pits, it looks like the 50 of Christian Budd coming in. like just about everyone coming in. So this bodes really good for Tommy Bordeaux, who pitted early to gain track position. He's in P6. I think Thomas Harmon already out of the pits. He only took 2 tires on that stop. Jonathan Bell also, because he didn't pit until very late in that green flag run, is actually going to be the leader of the race right now. Very interesting situations we have going on here. Unfortunately, that means Travis Massieu is not going to get a wave around. Everyone that is in front of Jonathan Bell right now, so that's Frank, Lindau, and Williamson. If they don't pit, they're going to get wave arounds. It looks like Frank and Williamson are pitting. So Lindau, who caused the caution, is going to actually get a wave around here after all. Unfortunately, not Frank Isaacson, who comes into the pits. And saying that, I'm very impressed with the way Lindau managed to keep it off of the walls when he spun himself out in front of Frank. The level of car control is not usually something that we see too often around here. We're just waiting to receive the 1 to go signal here so the drivers can start getting formed up. Lindau getting ready to zoom past the pace car. There he goes. Now it looks like Jonathan Bell choosing to start on the outside lane. Now everyone's going to have 8 lap fresher tyres than Jonathan Bell, who is going to be the control car. Remember, the first start is on green. All the restarts after that are on the leader. So that is one thing that Jonathan Bell has in his favour. He will be choosing when to start. But one thing that all these drivers have to be wary of is tyre spin. As we are getting ready now, and on this one we're going to go crank it up. The pace car is in. It's time to crank it up.
Go, go, go. Green flag.
I was paying a little bit of attention here to the big battle going on in this mid-pack as Thomas Harmon, falling from grace after taking 2 tyres and restarting P2. He's dropped all the way down to P6 now. You see he's going to have troubles here from James Watson and the 57 of Tommy Bordeaux in a very short period of time. So it looks like 2 tyres definitely not the call for this race. Christian Budd has worked his way up into P2. He's trying to chase down that 27 Bell, who used the restart to his complete advantage. And look at the little bit of a gap that he's got here. No, Jonathan Bell is very strong, and he's looking the goods right now out in front of Christian Budd. But the one thing that Jonathan Bell has that Christian Budd does not is damage. See the right side of that 27 truck a little bit bent up. And you can see also the 50 of Christian Budd now right on his tail. So this could be a little bit spicy here as they continue on. I have to wait and see because the 60 of Kyle Kraus right there as well. We know Kyle is a tenacious driver, and it looks like Christian Budd looking to the inside this time on Bell. Pulls up to him. He's still got Bell on his outside. Bell using that outside line's momentum to hold it up there. Now here comes the 60, who was almost going to try and make a move on Budd at the same time. But Kraus just could not quite get to the inside of Budd that time. Got around Jonathan Bell though pretty easily. Ken Campbell up there in 4th as well. He's going to be looking for a P3 here. To this camera angle instead. See there, the 4 of Jaron Sanchez just sitting back there in the 5th position at the minute. And Christian Budd starting to pull away ever so slightly from Kyle Kraus. That was a nice little bit of excitement there for our front group. Now let's move back towards the back here a little bit to see fall from grace Thomas Harmon has had. He has dropped all the way down to P11. It was a big risk, big reward kind of a strategy call there. I think it probably would have worked for him if he was the control car, but unfortunately for Thomas, the 27 of Jonathan Bell stayed out and became the control car. Jonathan Bell has now just dropped down to the 4th position behind Ken Campbell as the 66 of Sam Niederhelm goes around the outside of Thomas Harmon. And I think this is going to be a common occurrence that we're going to see for Thomas throughout the rest of this race unless he can get another caution. Let's check in on who was our control car for that restart, the 27, Jonathan Bell. He's starting to fall into the clutches of Jaron Sanchez, and even though he's only got 8 lap older tyres than the rest of the field, that's 8 laps of hard running because Jonathan Bell was absolutely pushing that truck. But you can't take away the fact that he's had an amazing strategy with that drive as the 4 Jaron Sanchez gets underneath him now and makes that move quite comfortably. Sanchez pulling away from Jonathan Bell, trying to close in on this gap to Ken Campbell. As Sanchez, after his podium last week, definitely hungry for another one this week. As the battle is still raging here for the lead, as the 60 of Kyle Kraus has not lost touch with Christian Budd. See how long Kraus can maintain this kind of a pace. It seems that only Christian Budd can usually maintain this pace. But Christian Budd is still human after all, and he will make mistakes every now and then. We haven't seen any, well, too many yet. But maybe tonight will be the night where we see one finally happen. As Kyle Kraus definitely battling him pretty hard right now. As very shortly, we're only going to have about 15 laps left to go. We're sitting at 16.5 as they come along the back straight this time. There's 16 laps to go at the line. And this is when all the chips come onto the board. This is money time for these drivers. And they're not just fighting for pride. There is actually a trophy on the line as well, provided by the sponsors of all the events. They also pay for the broadcasting here. They also pay for all the servers that go up. So make sure you definitely go check out the legitimate sponsors like Champ Drives Cars and the Champ Speed Shop. And as I said, you know, go check out all the driver streams as well. Quite a few of them that do stream. As Kyle Kraus still trying to battle on the back of the Christian Budmobile. You can see the Ford Jones Sanchez just looming there ever so slightly behind Ken Campbell. And right now these four trucks just seem pretty in tune with each other. No one really dropping off any in the sake of time. All of them just kind of even. You can see a little bit of a battle brewing here behind them, the 57 of Tommy Bordeaux and the 27 of Jonathan Bell. Jonathan Bell, after restarting in the lead that time, fallen down to 7th at the moment, and he's still battling as hard as he can to try and maintain some positions. And this is one hell of a drive for Tommy Bordeaux, actually, up into P6 after falling right down towards the back and taking a very early pit stop. Played that strategy just perfectly to get the undercut on the entire field, and got up to 4th at one point. Just down to pit strategy. You see in the background there a little bit more of a battle starting to form as Austin Hakes and Jonathan Hernandez have now caught up to the 27 car of Jonathan Bell. There are two white cars with the two red numbers. Makes it a little bit hard to distinguish these guys sometimes, but then Austin Hakes has the black and the red on the side of the truck, where Jonathan Hernandez just has the black on the tray. You can see Tommy Bordeaux actually starting to catch up there to James Watson as well in P5. As Hakes gets to the inside of Bell this time. And he's struggling a little bit just to get around Bell there. Bell definitely not making it easy for these other drivers, as we're now just about in the final 10 laps of this race. Go see the 60 of Kyle Kraus, and he has dropped off the back of Christian Budd here ever so slightly now. He lost a 10th on this last lap. He did a 31.642 to Christian Budd's 31.524. That's .118 that he just lost. That's off the top of my head. Darren Sanchez still trying to catch up to the back of Ken Campbell here a little bit as well. So by the end of this race, we could actually have a battle forming for second and third, because the 15 of Ken Campbell hasn't exactly dropped off the back of the 60 of Kyle Kraus either. So we saw a potential for the battle for the win, but that's not going to work out here. But we could still have battles for the minor placings on the podium. Just an update on Thomas Harmon. He's down in 13th at the moment after only taking 2 tyres on that stop. And what a fall from grace that was for him. Back up to the 60 car now, Kyle Kraus. And he's still not really losing too much time to Christian Budd, but he's definitely not gaining any time on Christian Budd. He's just losing like 10th here, 10th there, sometimes not even a full 10th. But it's just enough that he's not going to be catching up to Christian Budd here for the end of the race. It's also just enough that Ken Campbell is actually closing in on this gap ever so slightly. He's only just had slightly better lap times here and there, has Ken Campbell. It's just enough that I think it's going to make the end of this race a little bit interesting. Same too with Jaron Sanchez, who has been catching up to both of these drivers as they've been going on. As we now have just 5 laps left to run in this race. Christian Budd's race to lose. And it's going to be Ken Campbell's podium to lose, as the forward Jaron Sanchez now right on his tail. Let's see what these drivers can do to try and get into a decent position here. All going to be down to Sanchez v Campbell. I think Kraus is just going to be a little bit too far ahead for Sanchez to battle him if he does get around Campbell here. You see Sanchez taking a slightly wider entry into 1, so he can cut down that little bit lower coming out of 2. Not going to get the run this time, but he's definitely feeling out that move. Oh, Sanchez just about put himself into the fence. He's now looking to the low side of Campbell. With just 2 3/4 laps to go, this is going to be a big move if he can make it stick. Side by side they go down the backstretch. I think Campbell is going to take the advantage here coming into turn 3. Sanchez is not going to give up there though. He's got at least 2 more chances to try and make a move stick. As we now get 2 to go. This is where Sanchez really needs to start stepping up and putting all the pressure onto Campbell. You see he's absolutely trying to pull the pressure onto Campbell. I hear Campbell's soup is better when it's cooked under pressure. As we are on the final lap, my apologies for not calling it out there. Christian Budd gonna walk away with this one with the win. Comes out of turn 4 for the final time. And crossing the line, your winner of the Output 100 here for the Nashville Super Speedway. Gonna be the 50 of Christian Budd. Kyle Kraus is gonna cross in P2, and Ken Campbell coming home in 3rd in front of Jaron Sanchez. Tommy Bordeaux, what an effort finishing in P5 there. These guys put on a fantastic show for us here today. And there was only 1 caution throughout this entire race. It's always good to see that it's a very small number. Christian Budd's going to come celebrate his win here. Doing it in the grass. And with that, we are going to go to a commercial break while he's doing some more donuts. When we come back, we'll have driver interviews to make sure you guys stay tuned. All right, guys, it is time for our Viagra Hard Charger Award. And today's Hard Charger Award winner is the one and only Mr. Tommy Bordeaux. Tommy, Season 1, Season 2 champion for the Output Racing League, and then you took a hiatus and you're back, and we love seeing you back, and you come home with a perfect pit strategy, I must say, to get the Hard Charger Award winner here today.
Yeah, Corey, it's great to be back here. It's been a while. It's been a long time, and there's been some tough races in between. But it feels good to be back in the booth. The pit strategy, I just felt like pitting early was the way to go. I was hoping for that yellow. It came exactly when I needed it. And holy cow, I'm just so excited to be back here.
It has been such a long time since we had you in the booth. I have missed your charisma here, just talking to me, because you're always such a happy person. I'm so glad that you decided to come back to us, and hopefully, this is going to be the beginning of you getting back up towards the front of the pack.
I sure hope so. Boy, I was really hoping to talk to you a couple weeks ago at Darlington, but I took myself out of that one. I really thought he had good speed there, but this is okay. I mean, Nashville, my first time racing here was such a blast. These guys are great to race with. And oh, Corey, it's nice to talk to you, and it's good to have the TWB colors back in an interview.
It definitely is, mate. Now let's talk about the race itself. Obviously, when you had those fresher tires before everyone else, you were zooming through the field. But what was it like when they started coming back to you and you dropped from fourth down to P6 before the caution came out?
I expected to fall back, and I wasn't surprised or anything. I was just trying to limit the damage as much as I could. In my mind, I'm thinking, well, this is probably going to go green to the end because all these drivers, Corey, they're so clean, they're green. We do a great job here, and man, it was a little scary. But when that yellow flag came out, I was like, oh man, we played it perfectly, and boy, I couldn't be happier with the result.
It's definitely going to be one of your better results to date. Unfortunately, a lot of bad luck has been your way, but hopefully you can use this as a catalyst to give your confidence that little bit of a boost, so we can see you back up towards the front, mate.
I think so. This is the start of the comeback, I guess. We'll see. I'll race when I can and have some fun and hopefully get to talk to you some more.
All right, now we know you got a couple of shout outs you got to handle here tonight, so let's hear it. Who have you got to shout out this week, Tommy?
First and foremost, Austin Hakes and Joseph Weaver, the two guys that race this with me. Always a blast to race with them. Big thanks to you, Corey, for putting on the broadcast and talking to me tonight. Big thanks to Jaron and all the guys at Output for putting this league together. I may have been gone for a while, but I come back and it's still the great, clean, green flag racing, hard racing league that it's always been. So just a huge shout out to everybody there and all my fellow drivers. And one last shout out to TWB and GardenLightsDirect.com.
All right, well, thank you very much for coming out, Tommy, and we hope to see some more of you in the future, mate.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Corey.
All right, guys, so that was today's Hard Charger Award winner, 57 of Mr. Tommy Bordeaux. Coming up next, we're going to have our third place getter. And today's third place getter, in what is to me, a bit of a surprise, going to be our 15 car of Mr. Ken Campbell. Ken, you were absolutely on fire out there tonight, man. Congratulations on picking up a podium.
Well, I appreciate it. And if you're surprised, imagine me. I don't think anybody's more surprised than me. So I think it being a new track where everybody was kind of starting fresh and didn't have a lot of history with it really helped me out. And a lot of the guys were complaining about it being a tight car, and I kind of like that. So I think that helped me out as well. And everything just kind of lined up. And for some reason, I was able to pull off a P3. And super excited about it. Still a little confused, but I'll take it.
Well, it's definitely been a long time coming, man. You have been improving so much since you first started driving with us here at the Output Racing League. And, the results are starting to show. You're starting to find your way towards the front of the field more often than not these days.
Yeah, I was working on consistency first because I haven't been iRacing that long, and so I just wanted to be consistent. And then after that, I was like, the speed will come, and so I feel like I'm practicing more to try to get that raw speed, and and it's starting to show a little bit. I'm happy with the way things are trending, and hopefully they'll continue that way.
All right, man. Now let's look forward towards next week. We're going to be going to the Pocono Raceway. What's the feeling like for you heading into the Tricky Triangle?
Well, it really is tricky because with such a long straightaway, any mistake you make in the corners is gonna just be exacerbated all the way down the straightaway. And so you've really got to be consistent with it and fight for a position because I think it's going to be close with the trucks, close racing. And so just really got to practice hitting those entries and exits. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm not great at it, but I'll definitely take it over a short track. So.
All right, man. Before we let you go, I'm guessing you're going to have a couple of shout outs that you got for us here tonight. So who you got to shout out this week?
Well, first off, my wife. She's allowing me to, dive headfirst into a new passion, and I really appreciate her with that. Uh, I appreciate Jaron putting on the league, all the guys in the league. It's really fun, and it's made me a better racer, racing with all these guys because they're fantastic, and you for putting on the stream and putting on a good show.
All right. Well, thank you very much for coming out, Ken. I'm glad that we've seen
Uh,
you improving over the months, and congratulations again on P3, man.
Thank you so much.
All right, guys. So that was Ken Campbell, our third place getter here today in the number 15 truck, and what an amazing P3 that is. Coming up next, we're going to have our second place getter, and today's second place getter is the designer of the Output website, the 60 of Mr. Kyle Kraus. Kyle, it was a close battle there for you at the end, but unfortunately, Christian just snuck away from you in those last 10 laps.
Hey Corey, yeah, thanks. Yeah, I was excited to get up to the front and get competitive. I knew at the end of the first long run that Kristen was a lot faster than me after about 20 laps. So I was trying to stay close to him as much as I could, but I just burned my tires off too much and didn't have anything for him, and then just got to be more concerned about keeping Ken and Jaron behind me.
Now, how was it like trying to figure out the pit stop cycle around here, especially since not everyone is vastly experienced at this track?
Um, well, I just tried to cut it in half. But then I forgot to pit. I kind of zoned out at the end of the run and wasn't paying attention, and I pitted probably 2 or 3 laps later than I wanted to, so that I didn't get much undercut. But I was able to gain one position on the green stops, which was good. And then I was very happy to see the caution so that we could bunch back up.
Now, let's talk about the restart for that caution. You started behind Thomas and Jonathan, who both had older tires. Jonathan with the 8 lap old tires, and Thomas, who only took two on the caution stop. What was that like trying to get around them and then try and chase after Christian?
Well, at first I was worried that since Bell chose the outside, I knew I was going to be behind him, and I was worried that him on older tires, he wasn't going to get a good jump, and it was going to pin me. And I kind of assumed that Thomas and Christian would get ahead of me, and that I was mainly just trying to interested in getting back in front of Ken. Um, but then when Thomas had a hard time going, I was like, oh, I can actually get a lot better result here than I expected. So I really raced him hard and tried to hold him down. And it sounded like his truck was so tight after only taking 2 tires that he couldn't keep it down. He had to back off, and that gave me a nice run. It would have been nice to get around Bell and lead a lap, but I also didn't want to race Christian too hard because I didn't want to burn up my tires and either risk not being able to get around Bell or losing to Ken.
All right, so I just actually got word that Thomas also did not take tires on that caution stop. So there you go, a
Oh, I
little bit of last minute
too.
information. All right, Kyle, but let's look forward to next week now. We're going to be going to the Pocono Raceway. So what's the feeling like for you heading into the Tricky Triangle?
I like Pocono, but I've never really been very fast there. So, it'll probably be one of those tracks that I just try and keep it clean and, hope for a top five and do the best I can.
All right, Kyle, we know you got a couple of shout outs you got to do here tonight. So who you got to shout out this week?
Yeah, definitely. As always, thanks to you, Corey. Broadcasts are great. Always enjoy going back and rewatching them. Thanks to Jaron and everybody who puts the leagues on, and all the drivers for showing up every week. This league's a lot of fun, and thanks to the family for letting me get away on Tuesday nights.
All right. Well, thank you very much for coming out, Kyle. Thank you for all the work that you do for the league behind the scenes as well. And we look forward to seeing what you can do next week at the Pocono Raceway.
Thank you.
All right, guys. So that was our second place getter here tonight, the 60 car of Mr. Kyle Kraus. And for those of you who don't know, he redesigned the Output Racing website completely all by himself. And, that's why it looks so fantastic now. And coming up next, we have today's winner, but it almost didn't fall this way because of that caution. But let's hear what he has to say anyway. Of course, our winner today, the 50 of Mr. Christian Budd. Christian, you had a couple of situations there where it was going to be close to other people battling with you, but you ended up coming out on top and pulling away for the win.
Yeah, didn't really want to see the caution mid race. Just kind of wanted it to go green. I think I was in position there to pretty easily win that one at that point. Had a little bit fresher tires than Thomas, and everybody else is pretty well spaced away from us. So it felt like I was gonna eventually just kind of prevail there. But it's just not how it goes sometimes, and you get a caution. So um, knew the call was to come in and get four. I was pretty surprised to see Thomas, what I thought was take two, but apparently not even take tires. And then when Bell stayed out, I really didn't think that they were going to be too much of a problem to pass because when I did a run in practice, I came out on 2 or 3 lap older or newer tires and a bunch of guys who had been out there, and we just able to mow them down. That little bit of difference makes a big difference on this track. So overall, it worked out pretty well.
All right, now let's talk about the setup for the trucks around here because you were very vocal in practice about how unhappy you were with how tight it was.
Yeah, I think it's probably one of the worst setups that we've had. Honestly, it was tight on entry and it was tight on exit. You really couldn't do anything. I think I had my brake bias back to 47% or something crazy. Just doing what I could to try and get it to turn, and uh, you know, it 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 just made it not as fun as it should have been because you really were forced to drive the truck really a specific way. The guys who were in the dirty air were at a huge disadvantage. And they're always at some disadvantage, but when you got a tight truck like that, it's just even more pronounced. So, I just think it would have been more fun if we just had a setup that actually turned when you hit the gas and didn't want to knock the wall down.
All right, now let's talk about that restart. Um, so obviously we know now that Thomas took two, but you thought that he took none, but you thought that he took two. So did we when the stop happened. So what was the feeling like for you knowing that you're going to be restarting behind Thomas because Jonathan had chosen the outside lane?
Yeah, well, Thomas is usually pretty good at restarting, so I was hoping that he'd be able to you know get up there and clear the outside line, and then I could get the run on him in the back. And he he didn't get a very good jump, and then so Kyle was pretty well to his outside going into one, and then it became pretty clear through the center of one and two that he wasn't going to have the grip. So I was able to cut it down to the bottom and put him three wide. And then probably should have pushed it a little harder getting into the corner, but uh, they actually kind of cleared me going into three. But got a huge run off the corner and was able to clear Thomas. And then I think Kyle caught the apron a little bit on the next lap coming out of three or something like that next couple laps, and I was able to get by him. And then pretty much knew with Jonathan Bell that it was just going to be a matter of time with those tires he was on.
All right, now let's look forward towards next week. A track that normally has another very typically tight setup, Pocono Raceway. What's the feeling like for you heading into the tricky triangle?
I like Pocono with really fast cars that you have to slow down and shift and all that. I don't know how it's going to be with the truck. My expectation is pretty low for that. Actually, I think it's going to be pretty much a lot of drafting and a lot of wide open throttle and probably a lot of slingshot moves or something. So we're gonna have to see, but it's it's really going to depend as it always does on the setup, and it's going to depend on some circumstance on whether we get an interesting fun race or if it's um, you know not that great. But Pocono, even though it's a fun driver's track with fast cars, but it tends to get kind of spread out and it's probably not a lot of fun to watch. Um, with these trucks, maybe it'll be fun. So let's hope so.
I do remember you last year in an interview apologizing to me for having to make me sit through a Pocono race. So that's always a little memory that we'll share. I mean that's actually one of the more famous clips that gets played quite often in our little intro. But man, I know you got
Yeah,
a
I've seen
couple.
it. It's pretty.
Man, I know you got a couple of shout outs to do. So who you got to shout out this week?
Well, Smith Sim Racing, 3 guys qualified for the top 70 for Road to Pro. So moving on to second round here. So really excited about that. All the guys worked really hard on those trucks last 8 races, and wish we could have got a couple more guys in there. A couple guys were real close, but didn't work out. But so those guys, of course, Output Racing, all the guys who show up here every week. It's a good group of guys. So if you're looking for a West Coast league or a late night league, definitely check them out. Of course, our Aussie Sim commentator for doing these awesome race broadcasts, which we all love. And I don't who was our sponsor this week.
It was just Output this week.
All right, Output. So once again, there we go.
All right, well, thank you very much for coming out, Christian. Congratulations on another win. Good luck in the second round of Road to Pro, and we look forward to seeing what you can do next week for us here at the Pocono Raceway.
Appreciate it, sir.
All right, guys, so that was today's winner, the 50 car of Christian Budd, and that is going to wrap up our broadcast here today. Thank you all for coming out, and when we get to Pocono next week, we'll be back here, same bat time, same bat channel. Until next week, I've been your commentator, the Aussie Sim commentator, and I'll see you guys then.